Who was the king of the oldest anarchy server in Minecraft? Sounds like a ridiculous question, right? How does somebody rule a Minecraft server that has no rules? Well, when you've had hundreds of thousands of players over the years, there's bound to be a few that desire power, influence, and attention here on 2b2t. Today's video focuses on two individuals who both called themselves the king of 2b2t at one point. One's journey ended in disaster, and one went down as a 2b2t legend. There's a lot of history to cover today, so let's get started. When looking at the 2b2t timeline, everything that I discuss in today's video takes place between 2010 and early 2016, as this is the only time in the server's history where the player base was small enough to come to a consensus on anything. The first person to ever call himself king of 2b2t was a 2011 player named Chris Lighton. Old players recognize this name instantly because of what happened to him. His story serves as a cautionary tale to all new players, so if you are new to 2b2t, you should pay close attention to this one. Chris Lighton was your quintessential 2b2t player. He was toxic, enjoyed griefing, and was all around obnoxious. He would constantly spam the following phrase in chat: "Chris Lighton is the king of 2b2t." And that last part, I'm sure you can fill in the blanks. But he spammed this phrase non-stop. And back in 2011, the /ignore feature did not exist yet, so players were forced to read these messages day in and day out. Just to get him to shut up, the player base at the time humored him and told him, "Yes, Chris, you are the king of 2b2t." And of course, it went to his head. He became one of the biggest griefers of 2011. He griefed spawn bases and took spawn killing so seriously that it was borderline obsessive. Some say that the 2b2t tradition of killing new players started with Chris. Back in 2011, instead of having a random spawn location within a certain radius of 00, everybody would spawn in the exact same spot. Chris was notorious for pouring lava over the entire area, burning new players alive instantly. Players that originally made fun of Chris for trying to be the king actually began to respect his dedication to making life on 2b2t miserable for new players. When he wasn't busy killing these new players, Chris actually did work on some projects. He was one of the first people to dig out tunnels near the nether ceiling. He actually helped dig out the early parts of what is now the infamous X Highway to the world border. Chris was the most notorious player of 2011, and he had achieved fame and notoriety on the server. He had obtained all the attention that he desired. But all of this attention came at a cost. Some players had grown so sick of Chris that they wanted to make him leave the server forever. After doing some basic research, the players discovered something shocking: the true identity of 2b2t's self-proclaimed king. It turns out that Chris Lighton was not just a Minecraft username. Chris Lighton was his actual name. Chris had doxed himself by using his real name as his Minecraft name, and the toxic player base of 2b2t took advantage. He was harassed to the point of quitting the server. This event would unfortunately set precedents for many more incidents like this to happen over the years, and is part of what gave 2b2t the reputation of being the world's worst Minecraft server. Chris had come to 2b2t begging for attention, and unfortunately for him, he got it tenfold. Chris's story is a cautionary tale for new players about why it's important to keep your personal details to a minimum when dealing with 2b2t. After Chris left the server for good, there would be many copycats throughout the years that would try and copy Chris's style and persona, even going as far as using his exact same messages in chat. But it wasn't until a few years later, until the next contender for king came along, someone who I would argue came closest to being an actual king of 2b2t. Pyrobite, the most legendary 2b2t player of all time. regarded by most old players as the true king of 2b2t. How did he get this reputation? Well, similar to Chris, originally, Pyrobite was seen as an obnoxious player, but unlike Chris, Pyro was an actual computer hacker. He was able to make his own hack client and exploit the server in ways that had not been done before. In 2013, using a backdoor, Pyrobite together with iTristan teleported to the world border, becoming the first players on 2b2t to see it with their own eyes. Pyro was also one of the creators of 2b2t's super weapons, the 32k items. Much like his predecessor, Chris, Pyro himself enjoyed griefing the spawn region, and started the trend of naming withers after himself. He would name all of them. Pyrobite is the king of 2b2t. He spawned them all over. I personally can remember New Year's Eve of 2014 going into 2015. I was on 2b2t that evening before heading out for festivities, and while I was playing, I was greeted with this sound. Pyrobite spawned about 50 withers in the span of about a minute, all of them named after himself. Pyrobite was also known to mess around on the Nether roof before the plugin existed that kicked players off of it. Being a member of Valkyria, he established good relationships with the player base at the time. He would be a part of many bases in his time, but his leadership abilities truly began to shine when he was selected as one of the leaders of Asgard 2, the largest group base on 2b2t in 2015. Since the majority of the active player base lived at this base, and saw...
Alright, very cool, very cool.
If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like and a comment on what you want to see next.